Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Wins and Lessons. We win some, we learn some. This is a podcast about the fears, failures, and funs of being a dad.
That's right. Today we have Ray Tony. Ray is an awesome man of God in our community. He worked in construction forever, has a few kids, but we talked about independence, raising children of independence, or rather being children of independence, aka rebellious. And we talked about the importance of a community and how it takes a village and the gift that that could be for us as dads. And then we talked a little bit at the end about being a grandparent. Ray shared some things that God's been teaching him recently that I think is valuable for all of us to listen to and consider, whether we're a grandparent now or sometime in the future. We hope you enjoy this episode. Mr. Ray, first, thanks for coming in. I know you got a busy schedule. You said, Nathan, you came in a little bit late, but he said when he came in, he's like, "Man, I got the life everyone dreams of," and I think it's because you could just kind of do whatever you want, whenever you want, right?
I do, but I really do. I have the life people dream about living. I get to live it.
Yeah. So Nathan and I, I think maybe you're a little privy to this, but we're on this journey to discover more about being an awesome dad and want to sit with people who have just pearls of wisdom to share with us.
I feel like it's maybe like a survival thing. I feel like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, how do we do this? Because for me, like, fatherhood I doesn't think it comes natural to me. Mm-hmm. And so maybe you're on like survive or like a journey, like where this is great, like, but I feel like I'm like in a like, oh my, like how do I get through this thing, kind of like lost in the wilderness thing. So I'm looking for advice, ways to do this thing.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, oh, we're crushing. I should just pick up some pieces here, and then sometimes it's like, I'm gonna die. I need help now, like emergency. Someone rescue me. Sure. But first, Ray, what was I don't know that I know your relationship like growing up with your dad. Like, what was your dad like? What was your relationship like? Was he around? What was that?
We grew up on a farm.
Okay.
And down in Orland.
Okay.
At 7 years old, my dad became saved, and he became a zealot for Christ. We were in church 3 to 5 times a week. And I had one brother. We went to the same schools together, the same church, the same dinner table. I don't ever remember having a babysitter. We were just a family, did stuff. I had one brother that became a pastor. I had 2 brothers. Another brother is probably the most saintly man that I've ever known here on earth.
Wow. Where are you in the order?
I was the oldest.
Okay.
I was the oldest. And I became the prodigal out of that same system. Somehow.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Yeah. Batting 600. Yeah.
Well, and I'm here by the grace of God. God didn't let go of me in spite of my rebellion.
Right.
And but I had a perfect family. I mean, it's a good. I mean, we had struggles.
Sure.
But I was the one that was in trouble and needed correction and rebelled against it. But somehow I come out of that system thinking the 10 Commandments and following God would limit me in success and fun. And of course, it took me a lot of pain and suffering to find out, and suffering of others, that following the principles of that scripture is the easier, softer way.
What do you recall? Like, what was there a certain age or a set of experiences that started to like create that division between you and your family's values or pursuit of the Lord? Do you remember what that was?
No.
Okay.
I think it was just my flesh.
Yeah.
Just my nature.
Yeah, I feel like I was the same way, and I think about that too, because I was the same way too, where my dad was a zealot. I was in church 3 times a week, right? And maybe I got burned out, I don't know, but I always I always just like had this rebellious kind of like mentality. I don't know what it is.
Independent mentality. Yeah.
Probably more.
Maybe, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll actually use that but like, I always thought about that too, where it's, my parents did all the right thing, but I just felt this need to just do things my own way, and whatever my dad said, like, I wanted to do the opposite. Like, even I remember in like Tiger Cubs, which is the youngest cub, my dad was the den leader or whatever. And I was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I don't want to listen to him. Like, even at like 5, 6 years old, I was always so rebellious. So I think, maybe you had the same thing where it's just, we're kind of just, some of us are just built more independent.
There you go.
Right. And I'm doing air quotes.
Air quote the independence. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that terminology better than
rebellious.
But I think like, having that independence or that rebellious spirit or like independence is really actually something that like can be very useful to God once he's able to, meekness, like the word meekness, blessed are the meek, is like I heard this great illustration. It's like a wild horse that allows itself to be tamed, right? And so even like our independence, when we allow ourselves to be meek and tamed by God, I think that God can really use that sort of like energy or that independence in like really amazing ways, right?
Absolutely, and it's a testimony to God's faithfulness in spite of me.
Yeah,
in spite of you. That's incredible. That God would take a rebellious. What was your word?
Independence.
Independent.
Yeah. Independent spirit. Yeah.
Like I tried to live, bring correction and against my will, and then use me to build this kingdom.
Yeah.
Think about that. The incredibles of God to take a person like me or perhaps like you and use me to build his kingdom.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Well, I think God also is very, the word. I think the word in the Bible is God's very jealous, right? Which is almost another way I think of it as being He's very possessive over us, and so even at a young age, and I've seen this a lot, when we give our lives to Christ, even as a youngster, right, and we go our own way, being independent, He still is like mine.
Yeah,
that's mine.
Yeah.
Right, he's going off and doing his thing, but like that's mine.
Yeah.
And how many times have we seen this where somebody at a young age maybe gives their life to Christ, or and then years, like they can barely ever get through life most of the time without God coming back around and saying, no, you belong to me.
Yeah. Come back here. Yeah.
Oh, I get to work in the addiction world today. It's where I get to, but it's incredible the amount of times that you're working with a guy and my parents sent me to a church camp, or my grandmother was praying for me, or that's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
It took but it's the same thing you're talking about. God doesn't give up on us.
Yeah.
For you, Ray, like kind of bridging into you as a dad, for you that the taming of the wild horse that maybe you were, that didn't happen till later in life. Am I correct?
Correct.
So how many kids do you have?
I have 2 children.
Okay.
A boy, older son, and a daughter.
Okay.
They're in their 50s now. And they have kids.
How many grandkids do you have? Do you know off the top of your head?
5.
5.
Yeah.
So there was some stretch of time for you as a dad where you were still living independent, maybe. Well,
it was a story of recognizing I was off track, surrendering, trying to I got this problem, surrendering that problem to God, doing things reasonably correct, and then falling back, and so really it was kind of a 10-year period during that where I was, violated my marriage and my father, kids. But there were periods of time that and their mother was incredible and still a Christian woman. And I look back and I think, oh, what saved my kids? Well, there was some times God in our lives we made some decisions that I think that wound up being crucial. When our kids were younger in their grammar school area, we made a decision to move into an area where we could have a community of other parents, other kids their age. And we went to school together. We went to church together. We had events together. We had camping together. So during the teenage years, when I was failing as a father, those became the influence.
The village kind of stepped in to help.
The village stepped in. Yeah. And other people, other parents of other kids stepped in. And my kids, are believers, are walking with God, successful people. But I think going back to God, I think probably through a time when I was trying to be obedient, we made that decision. And yeah, I worked out of town and I was a drunk for a good part of that time, but we went to all their events. I was on the school board. We were still it's a testimony to God that even if you're failing for a period of time, if you do some of those things, then God, He loves your kids more than you do too.
I think first of all, Nathan and I feel like we do that. You feel like we do that with each other, like help each other parent each other's kids a little bit? Like,
I actually was thinking the other day, I can't remember if I told you this. I was like, I'm trying to get something through to my kid and he won't listen to me because I'm his dad. And so I was like, did I tell you this or did you tell me this? Where it was like, hey, if I want my kid to do something, like, I don't know, eat better. I don't know, don't eat so much sugar or something, I can tell him that. He won't listen to it, believe me. But if I have like, hey, Nathan, like, talk to Noah. Tell him, just cool, like casually in passing, tell him like, hey, man, you're playing baseball more. You really need to get work on the diet, because he would listen to you, but he just won't listen to me.
Yeah, we've talked about that in times where even just sharing about our kids going through hard stuff or us struggling with some of our kids. It's been like, hey, well, how can I help? Like, what are there things that you feel I could say that could speak into their life? And it may be the exact same thing that we're saying as the dad, but it hits different when it comes from another pastor, another leader, another influential person in their life.
Well, your kids love his kids, so they respect their father.
Sure. Yeah.
And they're not in that debate mode.
Yeah.
That they are with my, same. It's just a phenomena that I think we need to. We need to understand that we went through it, regardless of how good a parent you are. Your kids are flesh, and they have this debate mentality with my parents.
Yeah,
and so how do you deal with that responsibly?
Yeah,
get tougher, get harder. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
But then if you got this community,
I
don't need to eat that much sugar.
Yeah.
Kind of see
so
it.
You're right on track. I think that's a. But it's recognizing that phenomena. I think that we had as kids. Your kids have it. Even though you're good parents. They have that rebellious spirit. Some of it's just worse than others,
Yeah.
Nathan and I, we had a little stronger one than my brothers did.
Yeah. For you moving into that, you said you and your wife decided like we're gonna move. Was it move like
Yeah.
it kind of into a community and stuff?
Yeah.
How did you decide where to move, or how did those friends come about? I think of like maybe dad's listening to this now. We probably want what you're describing, but some of us may struggle trying to grasp how do I find people or families that are like-minded, like-hearted? Was that just a miraculous thing of God, or were there certain steps that you guys took or things that you thought about and intentionally hanging out with certain families?
Yes and no. We met these families with church. Some of them were business partners, so we had some business together and some involvement together, and they moved and started going to a different church, and so we just said, hey, we need to be in that community, and so we moved out to that community, and then through that God added other people with similar age. I got involved in the community things. I was on a school board. Well, that brings you into the community, and of course the church, and God just built a community kind of based on, we need to move out into that community.
That's cool.
And we're ready to move to anyway. But I think looking back, it didn't seem like it was that important a thing. It just but it really came about because the church, the school, the community, and we want to be there. It certainly wasn't. Hey, our kids are going to be better off, or so much.
That wasn't the initial catalyst for the decision or anything.
Just, just like you guys, we're friends. We want to do stuff together, and so let's, And
that's cool.
It probably, and it's probably more of a selfish motive than it was a spiritual, but God used it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, parenting is so much easier, like when you have community too, because just from a practical standpoint, you're able to, like even for us, like who's picking the kids up today? Like you'll pick, we kind of live kind of close to each other, and so he'll pick up the kids one day, and we'll pick up the kids the next day, and so just from a very practical standpoint, it makes life a lot easier.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to ask you was, and I just had somebody was talking about this, but like how important. With our kids, like the influence, the friends they have is, right? And so this person was saying like, the friends that your kids make, especially in the teenage years, is like so important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean? And so I remember for me, I got involved with some bad folks like in my late teens, early 20s, and it led me down a horrible path. Yeah. And it was really so much just the company you keep, and I think it's just so true. So talk to me about how that factored into your fathering. Like, were you being intentional with this community of being like, these are the people that I want around my kids. These are the people that I want my kids to like be spending time with. And how did you sort of manage that from like even a schooling portion? Because I think for us, like we're thinking, our kids are at the age where they're probably going to go to high school pretty soon. Not probably. I mean, they are going to go to high
Hopefully
school.
they graduate middle school.
Go to high school pretty soon. And it's like then they go out with all these other kids, right? And so my biggest concern is, man, how do I keep them with good friends like your son who are great influences, and I know they would be happy and safe and grow with, as opposed to some other kids who I won't mention, who I could just see such negative influence on their life. How did you like navigate that, or did you think about that at all?
Did not think about that at all, other than this community thing. I'm looking strictly hindsight, Nathan, and seeing that happened. Mm-hmm. And they were in public schools, but then who'd we go camping with in the summer? I went camping with this group. Mm-hmm. We went to church with this group. Mm-hmm. And who'd we go hunting together with? And then when they got in who'd we go snow skiing with? Or who'd we go water skiing with? Or who'd we go to the lake with? It was this. So So yeah, they had other friends
Yeah.
that weren't very good.
Yeah.
But this we just because of circumstances, this core of families of 3 or 4 families, we just did stuff together a lot.
Yeah.
And so consequently, they became the friends that they really cared about each other.
Yeah.
And when my son come home with a nose ring, God gave me the grace not to say anything about it. But his friends, the nose ring disappeared.
Huh.
Well, I later learned that this same group of kids he was raised with, they talked about that.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even though he'd been off and he got with friends that had nose rings.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's more common today, but
Sure.
back in the 80s and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was pretty rebellious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course his mother it's just weird. But this group that we consistently did stuff with several times a year, whether it was over to a barbecue at our house. We didn't invite the other friends to the barbecue at our house, or they played on the same sports teams.
Right.
So there was so what you're doing is, they're going to listen just like you did, and but then there's going to be this core of friends. That's not cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting because it even goes back to what we're saying about sometimes how our kids won't listen to us.
Yeah.
And so, especially in teenage years, they're the ones they really listen to are their friends. Their
friends.
peers.
Yeah.
And so,
And if you wait till they're teenagers, you can't pick their friends,
Right. Right.
but you can when they're grammar school and junior high.
yeah.
We just talked about this in concept or theory rather. I think we were on that trip in Baltimore and we were talking about our kids. And I think our older kids are are venturing into an age where like skills and talents begin to determine who your friends are.
Yeah.
Right? Like you just congregate
Yeah.
to people who are like-minded, like passioned. But our kids, and so in their future years, that might be who they hang out with. And so we were talking about like some of our kids' friendship, like, oh man, we hope it continues. And this is a theory, but my theory is that for our kids, their relationship their friendship has started so pure and so innocently. It's not because you like all the same things, and so therefore I'm only going to be friends with you. It's just like, we're just friends. We don't know. This is just what we do. We're friends. And my hope was that like that would be the bond that would keep them, even if they get into high school and they kind of hang out with different pockets of people, they'll still have that shared bond that you're kind of describing. I guess what I'm saying is my theory seems to have a valuable experiment in what you've witnessed with your kids and stuff.
It's consistent with my experience, and that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll get into. Daughter was in volleyball, and son was in sports. Well, then they started hanging with, but yet some of the people in the core group were involved. Some of them weren't.
Sure.
So their community expanded, but like you're saying, that those deep friendships that started at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, didn't.
Those didn't change.
Those didn't
for
change.
the negative, yeah.
And it's amazing. They're in their 50s today, and they're still pretty close.
That's awesome.
So how much leeway, I guess, do you give your kids in when the teenage years, or so I have a 13-year-old and you have about a 13-year-old. How much? So I consider that teenager, but because they're starting to act like a teenager. But like, how much leeway do you give them? Like when he came home with a nose ring, right? And you're like, oh, don't say anything, or anything, or you see them making some questionable decisions or potentially going down the wrong path in the teenage years. How often are you stepping in and saying, hey, you need to do this, or maybe even in a really authoritarian role, which my dad did, was like, you do that again and you're whatever. And how much do you just be like, okay, this is a good kid. God's got him. It's God's kid too. Like I trust that God will work this out. Like how strict were you with letting them make their own mistakes, I suppose?
Well, part of the story is when he had come home at 18 with that, and I was not a good father. That's when I was in the worst of my drinking, and so I recognize that I have nothing.
My voice has no value or weight right now
because of who I am.
Sure.
So that was the basis for that. I think that if you like you guys are continuing to be good fathers and trying your best to be good fathers, and that you should have that authoritarian. Now, how you do it, my dad maybe didn't do it right, but I knew where my dad stood on things like smoking or that kind of thing, and so I knew I was rebelling against my father, and I think that's important. That I knew I wasn't doing what my father wanted me to do. I think that's important.
Yeah. So forgive me for maybe stating the obvious. Sorry, did you have a follow up to that? It sounds like for you, Ray, one of your greatest wins as being a dad was like making this choice to remain with the families or the community that you valued and your kids valued. And again, maybe at the time you didn't have the foresight or the wisdom to see how valuable and important this was. But looking back, you're like, man, that was a great win.
Yeah, exactly.
In the area of lessons, things that maybe we've missed the mark as a dad and prayerfully we've learned from, whether we got to correct them in the moment or we're hoping to help other dads correct them. What would be something that jumps out to you as a dad where like, man, I really missed the mark here and I had to learn and like what would be something that you could share with us or other dads from your experience of a lesson learned?
I think there was times especially my son, I corrected inappropriate behavior out of anger, and took some while to a day or two to get convicted of that, and then going back and apologizing that I didn't handle that right. I think being in a divorce with the mother and then making restitution through that.
Sure.
And that's been reconciled, that relationship been reconciled. But that hurt my kids.
Yeah. How old were the kids roughly?
They were in I think my son was 20 and my daughter was 18. And I rationalized, hey, we got them raised. They're not, and which was incorrect. But over time, I recognized I needed to make restitution for them, and and God reconciled all those relationships. Their mother comes to our house. I have a new wife. They come to our house on Thanksgiving. We go to their house on Christmas. But that's God. See, but I knew I'd harmed them, and it wasn't just forgive and forget. It was I need to make restitution here by being and supporting and I think we it goes the trespass offering. There's a difference between the sin offering in Leviticus and the difference is the trespass offering requires restitution. And in our Western culture, we kind of translate that well, if I harmed you, I need to fix, if I stole money from you, I need to repay you. Scripture doesn't say that. Scripture says it's about my relationship with the Father is the reason I need to make restitution. And as I make restitution, God works on the other people. It's and I got convicted of that principle because I'd hurt my kids, hurt their mother.
So what did that look like practically? Like
being supportive, being a dad when they didn't want me around. When my daughter was in college, she got to play volleyball. She was a pretty good volleyball player. She didn't want me at her games because of something I'd done in high school, but I went. I went, kept going to game no matter where they were, all over the North. And she wouldn't even look at me because of what I had done. But as a father, you're supposed to be at the game. And I was there. I didn't bother. I was just there. Well, towards the end of the season, she came up to me and says, and she looked at me. First time it's like 20 games. And never, if she saw me looking at her, she'd look away. Okay. But I just kept going, being a father. And at the end of the game, end of the season, she comes and says, Dad, he says, we're going to be in the playoff series, and I sure hope you can come and support us. Because I need you. That's restitution. See? That's the principle of just keep being a dad. Just keep, and the son is, similar type stuff, but even though, I failed, and I deserved for her not, and we have an incredible relation ever since then. But it's that principle of, hopefully you guys don't have to go there, but I had transgressions. It wasn't just sin; it was transgressions, iniquity, and but God's got a plan to heal that.
Okay, can I ask maybe a stupid question? Explain to me, like when you say sin and transgressions, what's the difference?
I like Pastor Brian's definition. Transgression is intentional.
Transgression is intentional.
Intentional sin. Sin is missing the mark.
Yeah. I
didn't intend to get angry at my son to discipline him, but I did.
Yeah.
Okay. I did.
Transgression is you knew you were doing something wrong and you did it anyway.
Yeah.
We can cut this.
That's what I understand.
We can cut this next question if you don't want to talk about it, Ray. But you had made a comment, like kids were kind of out of the house and you kind of felt like, hey, this is more for like dads and marriages. But you're like, hey, we raised the kids. We kind of did our job. Let's go our separate ways. If you don't mind talking about this, and again, tell me, we'll cut it. But there are a lot of marriages that end after the kids move out of the house. And I've had friends, we're in college, and they come back from, Christmas break or summer break or whatever, and they're just devastated because it's like, dude, what happened? Oh, my parents just told me they're getting divorced. It's like, what? And so would you have any advice for like dads and marriages that could avoid that? Like, are there things that you could have done differently, or you wish maybe you would have done differently, instead of just focus on, let's get the kids through life and make them adults and we can move on? Were there other things that, like, is there other advice that you would give us to see marriages last even through raising kids?
Yes, I think is that.
Do you feel comfortable talking about that? Sorry.
Yeah, I can talk about a general way, and we'll see how it works. But when you have a drug addict or alcoholic like I was. The problems you have in the home are all related to, well, he drinks too much. He's an alcoholic. So you have this perpetrator and victim role. And of course, when you don't have that, you have two sides, but the alcoholic is screwing up so bad that the attention goes to how bad, and it's true. I'm not trying to minimize, what an alcoholic does in a home
To its family, yeah.
But then, kind of this. Well, if he just quit drinking, we'd be fine. But through that process, we never developed anything to do together. We were united in raising kids. So when the kids are gone, we had no bond. And so the people and that happens fairly frequently, that we were united in raising the kid, but I did nothing to develop activities or relationship with their mother. And when I had problems with their mother, I drank, and it was okay. So we didn't. But I think that the thing that is this idea of when you have kids, you need to be thinking about what you and their mother are going to be doing when you don't have kids. What do you have in common? What do you do together? And I didn't do that. And so consequently, when the kids were gone, and I was the focus of the problem, and now what I know today, there's solutions to that, but but they're hard. They're horribly hard.
Yeah.
So the fleshly answer is, well, let's go our separate ways. You go, and so, but when you've been a perpetrator like I was for a long period of time, then whatever the other person's issues are, that's because so they become a victim, and truly are, but so they can't see their side of the equation.
Sure.
And the marriages, and I get to work in that field a lot, and that's one of the things we talk about is that, both of you need help here.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's saved, but often it's not because of that same phenomenon. One's a perpetrator, one's a victim, and the world agrees with that. And so I don't know, but I know we didn't. That's what I talk to people about a little bit, is you need to work on what are you and their mother going to do together? What do you guys enjoy doing together?
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to carry on.
Yeah.
I think
and the whole goal is for the kids to be gone.
Yeah. And I think sometimes in parenting, it feels like it's forever. Right? Like this.
Well, it's all consuming too.
Yeah, it's all consuming.
And
it feels like, but I think in reality, it probably goes so fast, and before you know it, it's just going to be you and your spouse again. And I remember, we were in Hawaii a couple years ago, and we were sitting across from this elderly couple, and I swear to you, they sat there for an hour and didn't say a word to each other. And they were at a table for two, and so they're they're staring at each other from 2 feet apart the whole time. And I don't even think they made eye contact. And I was just, gosh, man, literally an hour, not one word. And I was how do I avoid?
I don't want to be there.
Yeah, I don't want to be there.
Yeah, I think that one thing Rebecca and I try to share with young couples as we get to do a lot of premarital encouragement, counseling, and maybe we're hitting on this without experience, but what I think I hear you saying, Ray, is we tell couples never stop dating each other.
Yeah.
Like you're about to get married and this is awesome, but that doesn't mean you stop dating each other. And that doesn't necessarily dating. I'm using that at kind of broad. It doesn't mean necessarily go get dinner every once in a while, but like never stop discovering each other and dating each other. And so it's hard. Schedules are hard and you got to do hard work. But like during this all consuming chapter of our lives of parenting, we've got to find ways to continue to date and discover each other.
And I think little things like doing a devotion together, which we never did, praying together, which we never did, praying over issues together, which we never did. I see the people that do that build that relationship that goes beyond kids.
Yeah.
But that's just an observation, and I know I didn't do that.
Right.
We didn't. We prayed at dinner and
right.
prayed, but we didn't. The mother and I didn't sit down and let's ask God what He thinks we ought to do in this situation. We were united, but we never brought God into the deal.
Yeah. And
I think that's hugely, because of what that does is brings your hearts together.
Yeah.
Just like it does now, or it does even with other men. When we sit down and pray together, we connect at a level that's different than just doing life.
Yeah. We don't get to go on a lot of dates right now.
Yeah.
But when we do, I come home and maybe psychologists would tell me I'm wrong for this, but I come home and I thank my kids first. I'm like, hey, thank you for letting Mom and I go and have some time together. Because sometimes they don't want a babysitter, depending on who it is. Sometimes they're like, yeah, please go away for more time. We want to hang out with these people. But I thank them, and then I try to express to them like how much Mom and I need times like this and how important it is for us and our family. Because we want to instill, I think Nathan and I both want to instill that not only for our marriage, but for our kids' future marriages. So if we're modeling it now, prayerfully, they'll catch some of that, and they'll value that if they're ever to be married and have kids.
Oh, like my parents, they had 60 years of married, but they were on a farm together. So the farm was a joint. They had some businesses stuff that they were both involved, and that brought stress into their life. But it was a common now, and they prayed together. I remember my parents prayed together. And I didn't really know it until afterwards. I went back and needed to do some amends with my parents, and I was told about how they prayed together, were praying for me, and then I got into that, and they've been, even the time we were, they spent some time praying together. And so I think there's something about that I don't think I understand. I'm just looking at, hey, that worked, and I didn't do it, and it didn't work. Type of
There's can we go on this one thing? We can maybe get out on this unless you got some other stuff, Nathan. But I think there actually, I know Nathan and I have gotten comments over the last year from different people in the church who listen to this and value it, and I think it's from dads of all ages, not just dads who are dads of young kids now, but I've heard from wives and husbands who listen whose kids are my age, and out of the house. And so there may be some grandpas listening right now, right?
Yeah.
And you just shared something with me and Blake, our editor producer, about something that you feel like God kind of just spoke to you recently about being a grandpa. Would you mind sharing that? There might be some other grandpas that need to hear that and can be encouraged and or challenged by that.
Yeah, I my daughter and her kids live in Woodland, which is 2 hours away, and their kids are in high school, freshman and a junior, involved in all kinds of kid activities. And since they got in high school, it's just more and more spend less time. They don't come up and do things and I was critical of them for a year or two maybe a couple of years. Hey, I'm available. You guys never come see your grandpa, or I miss the kids, and excuse me.
It's okay.
And it was things like I tried to say, I'd call my granddaughter, wouldn't answer the phone, wouldn't answer the phone. I'd text them, they text me right back. Well, so I knew they had the phone.
Sure.
Well, I got a resentment over that because, so I didn't understand their culture. That's the way they do their friends.
Sure.
But I had this, so I projected my culture on them. And anyway, I was disappointed in them. Okay, just to put it politely. And I got convicted. Well, who needs to change here? And so I started talking to God about it, not about what they needed to do differently. Because I talked to him about that quite a bit, and he failed me pretty. But what do I need to do differently? And I got this conviction that I just need to go hang with them. And I got an RV, and so I called my daughter up. I said, I'd like you to just come down and intrude. Great. Well, then I recognized I'm not a hanger. If you got a project to do together, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Just to go down and sit on the couch and hang around, it's totally against my nature. So I knew I needed the power of God to do that. So I asked, okay, God, I think I'm being convicted. You just go hang, and you're going to have to help me do that. And I did, and we did. We did. And I just went down there and spent 2 or 3 days hanging around, and they come and go. I got to spend time with all of them. It was incredible that they were grateful to have me. My grandkids have busy lives. They're in sports and activities, but they would come through. Hey, hi, Grandpa. Oh, what are you going on? Sit down. And my grandson's driving, and he said, hey, can I go? Well, yeah, come on, Grandpa, let's go. And none of that would happen as long as I was in judgment of what they were doing.
Yeah. So,
and I've been able, God has allowed me to do that 2 or 3 more times. And it's built a wonderful relationship because those kids are in that age of rebelling from their parents.
Sure.
They're driving.
Yeah. They're independent.
Independent.
Yeah.
Independent. And so I was able to tell some appropriate stories about their parents. I struggle with that, but it took me, and then also it's how it took me a while to understand the respect of my parents, and so the parents and the grandkids, and there was encouragement and building of relationships. One more time, God helped me figure out who had to change. And it's kind of I related a little bit to the Jacob and Esau story. Esau came from Edom with 400 men. He came to make war. Now Jacob got right with God at Bethel. Esau wanted to make peace. Now, so somehow God changed Esau's heart when Jacob got right. I mean, because he didn't come from Edom to make peace with 400 men. And that's happened to me a lot. And this is an example of my grandkid and my family, where I was in judgment of them, and God convicted me and I text now. I don't expect a phone call. They text me back and forth. That's the way they communicate. That's their culture. And they send me little Instagrams. And they don't make a lot of sense to me. But that's okay.
Yeah.
So I had to learn to get into their culture rather than judge them for what I don't like about their culture.
So you're saying it's so easy to pray to, hey, God, change this or change that or change this person. But actually, it's much easier to just change your own behavior in general. Like, I think, like, sometimes I'll even do that if I'm in, like, if my wife does something that I don't like and it's like one of her habits, right? It's just who she is. I'll be like, I'm never going to change her. I just like need to pray that like I will change and be okay. And then, I mean, that's it, right? I can control that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly, Nathan. But what happens when I get truly at peace with whatever that is, it seems like it changes.
Yeah.
See, it's the same phenomena. When God can really get, when I keep confessing it, and I really get, and that's the struggle.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's a switch behind my ear. You know, that's a battle of the flesh with me and the God. Mm-hmm. But once He wins that battle, the other person seems to change.
Yeah.
Just like Esau changed. Yeah. It's that same phenomena. And when I can show him in Scripture how they need, you know, and that's pretty much been a failure.
Yeah.
Even when I can hold up His Word and show him what he needs to do. But it gets back to and I think that's a gift of time. Trying to walk with God for a while is I don't stay stuck on stupid as long
as I used to.
My nature is still it's them.
Yeah.
I still get there quicker. I still get there initially.
Sure.
But I don't stay stuck there as long.
Mm-hmm.
So that phenomenon of, okay, once I can get a peace with whatever that is, and I'm not going to go into, but we've all had it. Once I can truly get, God changes me to where I can, that's just the way it ought to be.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It changes.
That's awesome. I'm so grateful, Ray, for you coming in and sitting with us and sharing your wisdom and experience with us, man. It's really helpful. And I think some other dads are going to be challenged and encouraged by this conversation today. So thank you, man.
Okay.
Thanks for coming in. Would you do something for us? Would you close us out in praying for dads and praying for marriages that are taking this podcast in?
God, we just recognize your plan, your spirit is for united and reconciliation and peace in our families and our marriages, and help us to see where we need to change. It's our flesh, and God, our flesh, Lord. You created our flesh. We go to where the other person, and help us to change. Help us to be the person you want to be, and help me to recognize again that that's a lot of work. But if I work on that, incredible how you will show up. You're not silent. You're not absent. And I just thank you, God, for the incredible creator of the universe has this personal interest in me and my relationships, and you do in everybody. And we thank you and praise you for that the personalness of you. In your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Yesterday is over and the future has come.